Yay!
Oh Jesus, we need to come in like an hour before the time. But anyway, go for it. Go for it. Start the intro, please.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. Um, we've got quite a few people here this evening. My name is Yasmin Euphemia, and I'm here today with.
I am Beverly, your UK fluffy chick, and we are originators of the supporter Sis-Star community. And from that community, we find lots of amazing speakers that come with us on this live chat to share their inspiration to innovation moments. The aim of sharing these journeys is that maybe you're on that same journey, on that same walk, and you can take some kind of nugget.
Inspiration.
There you go. Some kind of spark from what they're sharing with you tonight. And with us this evening, we have Lady Banton.
Hi everyone.
Hello,
Yeah, hi.
good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Right, Lady Banton. Can you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, my name's Lady Banton. I run an all-female sound system by the name of Seduction City Sound. I have been the only female sound system in the Notting Hill Carnival for this will be my 35th year. And I'm also an event organizer, and I created an event called the Windrush Legacies that takes place in Broxbourne, Hertfordshire. So that's
All right.
me.
All right. Why I didn't realize 30 something years at Carnival. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, as a sound system,
So
not in the
as a
parade.
sound system, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry. So let me ask you, let's go back a little bit to that early journey. How did you get there in the first place?
What, to Carnival or
To
as a sound
even just
system?
being into sound systems, like, yeah, what was your
Um,
motivation to go there?
um, I I grew up in a London borough in Haringey, and at the time there was a lot of youth work provision, and during the mid to late 80s they had lots of boys dominated the space, just because of their numbers really. And I attended a youth club for much of my life in the Hornsey and the Wood Green area, because that was my only outlet. I wanted to play. I wanted to be with other young people. So it was not uncommon for me to be going from youth club to youth club in Haringey, because that's what they were. It's either delivered by the church and in the 80s by the youth service. So because so what they did at this particular youth club in Haringey, they actually had girls groups. So we used to go along to the girls group on a Wednesday, and it wasn't really much to do, but we found those 70s and 80s double consoles. We found that in a cupboard, and then we just decided to bring records in, um, which wasn't unknown to me, because I was actually doing that in school. I was taking records into school with some small console that I had. So music was always a part of my life. And when we found the console, there was four of us in the room, and we decided to use it, bring our records in to entertain us. And we just hung out in the dance studio of this particular club and danced and made music. So it was just a continuation of what I was doing in school. And then they got us an instructor in to make our first box, which is an 18-inch speaker with three tweeters, and that's how it started. So at that time, I was with four other young women, three other young women, and we were called 80s Ladies. So that's
All
that's
right, okay.
that's how we started, you know. So that was the not the beginning of my journey. It was like a continuation of what I'd loved. Music was the background of my life. It was, you went to family functions. And my parents were they weren't church people. Although
Yeah.
they went,
Well, in that time, it was.
my mum went to church, but she wasn't like a hardcore Christian. So a lot of our time was socializing with family members and just going from house to house as they did in the 60s. I saw them socialize a lot and we went along with them. So music was pretty much imprinted into my head. I'd play their records on the gram to entertain myself because I was the only child up until my brother came along, which was 5 years, about 5 to 6 years
Yeah,
later. So it was pretty much part of my life.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to that. If you could put a thumbs up if you relate to any of that, because I know, most people from the parents that would say 60s, 50s, 60s, it was music that kind of kept them going. So you'll always be in some kind of musical settings, whether it be within your own home or your parents taking you to someone else's home. There was always music around. I think that's how we got our joy in them time. So okay, so from school, you're building it's building your own box and thing, not like you just get the
Yeah.
bought, what a box was bought. You built your own.
No, that was more to do with the fact that they got us a tutor because, at the time, it was for us to actually just explain to them what we wanted to do, design a program. That was kind of like, well, still is the whole ethos of youth work. Um, so they got a tutor in because we didn't know how to make a box. So we
Oh,
got
that's mine. So you're looking after it?
they got the they got the tutor to help us to make the box. And eventually we used to have, like
That's clean
Great.
already now.
Denise, can you go on mic, please? Turn your mic off.
Oh, no, sorry. Yes, can you mute your mics, please? Yeah, can you mute your mics, please? Thank you.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that,
Sorry,
Lady
continue.
Banton.
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Continue, Lady
so
Banton.
yeah, so we eventually were having small dances in Haringey Club, and for those who were, and I started to become a volunteer in the same club, and we were holding, as I said, small um, kind of like dances in Haringey Club, in the youth club that we're in. And eventually it spilled out into parties for friends. That's where it started to progress. So yeah. So in my 20s, I was more on I wasn't really any big club DJ. We just played at parties wherever, someone wanted to book us. We just played parties, you know?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the parties you played at, were they for people your age range, for or your peers, or was it like
Yeah, it was our
for
peers.
any age
No,
group?
it was for our peers. It was for our peers. So, if someone I remember because I played with an eventually. So 80s Ladies kind of like started and stopped quite quickly because the other two of the members went off into they went off to station. So I think two of them went off to Station FM, which is a North London station. And myself, because I worked for the civil service at the time. So the civil service was a very conservative place. And there were lots of things that we weren't able to get involved in. And I spent a lot of my I didn't go onto radio as much as I wanted to. I couldn't because it would have been instant dismissal. So I know
Mm.
some other people they went off and they went off and they didn't really business about the possibility of losing their job. But I didn't really want to do that. Do you know what I mean? So, and then plus I
Mm.
worked for the Inland Revenue. At the time I was working for the Inland Revenue. So, yeah,
Okay.
so they went off and did that. And then I teamed up with another woman around 88, 87, 88. I was I remember in 87, I was buying a head because I was now working, I was spending bucket loads on music, especially reggae music. Um, because beforehand I was funding my record purchases with my dinner money. So I'd walk to school and buy records instead. But once I
Wow.
started working, around from 16 plus to into my 20s, and when I got a full-time salary, I found a record shop in Dalston actually took pity on me. But everyone thought that this particular man in this shop wasn't nice to anyone, but he was actually good to me because I was able to get access to
Mm.
pre-releases from Jamaica. So all of the dancehall music, he would just stand there. I remember him had a really grumpy face, but he would still give me, play me the latest music. So by the time I got it home and I was playing them with my brother, he said, "You got some cool tunes here. How did you get them?" And I just said, he gave it to me. I can't remember his name, but if I won't even name the record shop because everyone said this man was just grouchy. But I said he's not like that with me. You know what I mean? And I just said he would just play the tunes and I'd buy them. So at that point, I was spending about £50 a week on music. And not really,
Wow.
yeah, but I just had this love of reggae. So I'd buy reggae from him. And then I was buying soul for a long, long time from a shop in Turnpike Lane, which was Derek's record shop, which most North Londoners would know, as a place where you could get soul from, you know. So I moved into Melotone, played with a girl, and by this time I was working in Brixton.
Anyone know Derek's record?
It would be there may be a couple. There may be a couple. But that was one of many record shops. I'd go to the West End. I'd, I'd go anywhere where I could pick up soul, our price. So just spending hours and hours and hours going into record shops, buying music. I had a love of soul anyway. And so I'd buy music from everywhere, listening to the radio. Then, you'd hear maybe a song on the Pirates. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback. I can hear someone in the background.
That's can I just ask one more time for people to go to mute their
You
mics,
okay?
please?
It's okay now?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just spending a lot of time buying music, but also still we had the one speaker box, buying a bit of equipment. My brother was also dabbling in music as well, so I had access to his set. So um if it wasn't him playing out, it was me. But we also had the one speaker box. I still had access to the one speaker box with the tweeters, which it did the job. Um, in about 1988, I had by this time left home, living not on my own. I was sharing with another woman, and we had a drink up. You know, at that time, anything for a rave, really. You know, it's the cat's birthday, we'll have a rave. Do you know what I mean? You know, that's how it was. If you weren't going out, you'd have something in your house and invite people, you know, invite people around. And I played with this other woman, and I said, "Yeah, you two play very similar. Why don't you get together?" And we said, "Yeah, all right, then we'll do that." And Melatonin was formed. That was the actual sound that entered. We entered into Notting Hill Carnival in 1994. I think for
Mm.
me, on reflection, it was a woman that got us through the door. So, in terms of the youth club, Margaret Osama was a youth worker at the time, and she was quite a notable figure at the time in Haringey in terms of um, her position in politics and wanting to enter politics at the time. And there was also another worker as well,
Mm.
who opened the door for us to progress in that area. And then when the other significant woman was when I rang up the Carnival office in 1994, Claire Holder was the chair of the Notting Hill Carnival. And I just rang her up and said, we want, you know, I'm a female sound system who wants to enter into the carnival. And she just said, yeah, meet me tomorrow. We've got a meeting tomorrow. Come along. And we walked in to a sea of men.
Right.
Um, and it was quite daunting. I think I must have been about 20, about 28.
Mm.
No, it must have been about 25, 28.
Mm.
And in those days, we're talking about some of the most popular sound systems and
Mm.
street sounds out of that time. And they just took one look at us and just kissed their teeth. You know, it was
Yeah.
that kind of, you know,
Where are you going?
what are you lot doing here? But we sat it out. We got a site. We had my friend had children at the time, quite young children, and our site was picked on the basis that the kids could run up and down, and we felt that it would be safe. And we wanted a family site at Carnival, um, which sounds really bizarre because people perceive Carnival to be really, really busy and but where the site is based, and I have never left my site. Um, that legacy is still there. Children come there, elderly people come there. So we didn't have a set. The first time we played there, we didn't have a set, even anywhere large enough to be at the carnival. So we got another local sound to bring their set, and we played one day, which was the Sunday. We didn't play the Monday. And 35 years later, the road is absolutely heaving. It's from top to bottom.
Mm.
And out of the carnival, I've been able to create a space which I call Jamaica Corner because it's everything Jamaican, you know, the music, my love of dancehall. So we've got a music policy that we play clean. Um, we play, you know, cultural tunes, we play R&B, but the music policy is no homophobia, no gun lyrics, and no slackness and no misogyny. And it's worked for many years. It's getting progressively harder to do that. But
Yeah.
I
Mm.
I've stuck to my guns. It is getting harder, but I just don't want to play them because if you've got a sea of women in front of you, um, I don't want to hear it. They feel safe, and it's worked really well. The site is um, we use the narrative of 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 our oral tradition on the mic, so it's an and plus it's an all. It's I've tried very hard to keep it female focused in terms of the DJs, the opportunities I give to young people. So yeah, it's been a very although very challenging, and most carnivalists will tell you that it's challenging. Financially, we've still been able to sustain ourselves for the 34th year.
That is absolutely amazing. And like you're
Yes.
saying, because music wise, I can imagine find I mean, I know there's lots of artists still making clean, if you like, clean lyrical music that you can still play. But I find it is very hard to find places that just play clean music. And this I call it the new wave stuff. I can't manage it. You know, it's
Okay.
yeah, the
Lady Banton, I've listened to your story and you're giving us the skeleton of it. All right. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you so that I can get color in the pictures. So, like when you were going to the record shops, was it when you had to go into cubicles and listen to the records?
No, it's most of the so I started off in two record shops and you'd go to the counter. So I'd go to Sunshine Records for the reggae and then I'd go to Derek's,
Turnpike Lane.
yeah, in Turnpike Lane. And literally one end, the high road cut these two roads off. And it was literally like uh, a counter.
Okay.
You just walk in and wait for the
And they played it. They played it in the shop, so you knew whether it was something you wanted or not.
yeah. So or sometimes I'd go in there for a particular tune. Um, I'd sometimes go into WH Smith because that was listening.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I remember going in after school to WH Smith's, it was absolutely huge, one of the biggest stores that they had. And I wanted a song by Clear. The song was so it was a clear vinyl, and I was attracted to the fact that it was a clear vinyl record because most vinyl is black.
Yes.
So Clear had this song "Keep Your Body Working," and again, I liked disco music, and I found I liked disco music from here. But when I actually went to Jamaica in '79, that's when it really opened up. Um, my love of disco because I was there for 4 weeks in Jamaica listening to American music, plus reggae music as well. But there was a much more, had much more access to American music and hearing all these different songs. But going back to Clear, I bought that tune. Um, And again, that was more about listening. So they put the record on, you'd go in and then you'd listen to the tune. I'm not sure, I can't remember that it was a booth though, but you could hear tunes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I was just trying to work out how far back you come from because you've not mentioned any years.
Dude, I,
Because,
I
like,
started playing by I think I bought my first record in 75, and that was because I conned my mum into I've inherited my mum's collection.
uh,
I bought my first, like your mum's in a good mood. They didn't have a lot of money, and I said to her, "Can I
well, it
have?"
sounds like you um You say you didn't have a lot of money, but you're talking about spending £50 per week.
Yeah, but that was I'd say around 88. We're talking in
Okay, so you've
so
gone through a good decade.
yeah, so in 75, um I I remember buying a Prince Jasbo tune. Um I can't remember I
That's
can
like,
see the cover.
mhm.
But you'd pick up I would get because I used to get pocket money in those days. So um I would, as I said, I'd walk to school instead of spending the money. So I'd get money for food and money for my bus fares, and I'd spend a lot on music and walk home.
Can you just remind us what the name of your first sound was?
80s ladies.
80s Ladies. And
Yeah.
when did Melatones come in?
Melatonin came about in 1987. No, 88.
And can you remember any names of any of the youth clubs that you went to?
Um, so the main youth club where I eventually ended up becoming a youth worker was Haringey Club. That was my first club. That's where I met. That's where we had the girls group. That's where we started in terms of um, coming together. They call them collectives now, which I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, yeah, don't worry
You know what I
about
mean?
the new names.
But us as a sound, we came together. Four of us came together, and the other,
Excellent.
I would say all of us um, successfully um, did well on the circuit. I think, if anything, at that time in the early days, they did my other DJ partners did a lot more. They were a lot more successful. But my only hindrance was I worked for
Yeah,
the
so
civil
you had
service
to
for
be
far too
PC.
long.
You had to
Yeah,
be, yeah, you had
yeah,
to
yeah.
be PC being in that type of job.
Not even PC, it was a sackable offense if you were caught with the D by the DTI.
Okay.
And if you're collecting taxes and doing all of those kind of things, which is what I did, I would have got the sack, and then I would have had to deal with my mum. You know.
Okay, so I'm sorry. It's just that I was busy doing stuff, so I just wanted to, like I said, to color in the
Mm.
bits. I'm going to pass you back over to Beverly, but I do want to take this opportunity to give thanks to Margaret
No, Margaret Osama.
Ottomer
Osama.
and Claire Holder, because they are people that were helping to lift the youth,
I,
weren't they?
I never forget them as part of my story because if you're during the 80s, the there were people that I aspired to be like.
Uh-huh.
Um Ranking Miss P, I used to listen to her on LWR. And I wanted to be like her. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to be able. And she was one of the first female DJs in the Notting Hill Carnival. Other people cite themselves, yeah, they were first. They weren't. It was Rankin Miss P because she played with her brother on his sound system, Lepke. So
Mhm.
she was one of my she's one of my inspirations, along with, Claire Holder and Margaret Osama, you know.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass you back to Bev.
Thank you.
Well, where you guys are from the same era, so I know a lot of it. It's sparking lots of good
Quiet.
memories for Sugar. Yeah, because she probably was at some of your raves and don't even realize, you know. So
Yes.
me being the baby of the bunch, but sorry. So
Yeah.
so she's colored in your skeletal, as she calls it, right?
Yeah.
So that was your youth club circuit, your entry into Notting Hill. But what made you choose the name Melatones?
We just like the name. And plus the Jamaican, there was a sound system in Jamaica called Melatonin. So in terms of like they talk about sound system culture. A lot of people talk about sound system culture.
Mm.
And, they kind of like, you just think to yourself, do you really? I didn't really use that word because sounds were everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So didn't really see it as a culture. Just go and listen to a sound.
Mm.
And if there is either you go and listen to a sound or a DJ, I went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So there was always a sound or a club to go to. And yeah, there were sound systems that I listened to in the 80s. Um, but sorry, I've just lost my train of thought because I've gone to that zone. Um, but I liked Jamaican sounds because you'd get the tapes. So I liked Melotone. I liked I can't even think at the
We had
moment.
like Sturgarth.
Yeah, I liked them, but I also liked I was more interested. I liked there were a couple from areas of Kingston. I can't it'll have to come
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of listening to the sound tapes, it was more about that kind of thing. So you'd get a tape or someone would lend you the tape, but they'd want it back the next day. That was my experience listening to the sound system tapes, listening to some of the DJs. I liked Josie Wells. I was obsessed with Yellowman. And it's a bit like an irony because he was slack. He was one of the slack ones. I liked General Echo. He was slack. I liked
Mhm.
Madhu. He was slack. But um in terms of being on being on the sound system, I liked performing on the sound systems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that was my experience. But I'd want to kind of like emulate. There wasn't really a presence of women as you see them,
hmm
as you know them today, but I wanted to emulate them and the selectors that were playing. I'm not like an anorak about it. I just, like the guys will know who did it, what year, this, that.
yeah, yeah.
I was more about the fun. I also liked to dance. So if I wasn't playing music, I was dancing in my bedroom,
Mm, mm.
So it was more about the whole experience and wanting to be part of that dance hall experience. And it's like
Yeah,
not like dance hall today. Those dance halls were very different times. You know what I mean? You'd get the culture, but you'd get slutness, you'd get vocal artists. So, you know, you had everything.
because I managed to have a taste of the sound system circuit, if you like, while I was in Jamaica. So that was like 82 to 85.
Mm.
So and because I never really experienced sound systems in England, so I didn't really know much about when I came back to England. I didn't really know much about sounds, but from 82 to 85, so like you had like Silverhawk, Kilimanjaro, and then all the sound systems that I can remember in Jamaica, they had their artists that are with that sound. So like you go to these dances, whereas over here, if we saw these artists, we're so star struck. Oh my God, this is this artist. There, it was just
Yeah,
thing.
it's nothing.
It's nothing. So
There's a
you
guy down the
see,
road. He lives a couple
yeah,
of doors
yeah.
away from you.
So
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
Yellow Man, for example, he's a big artist on the circuit in the 80s and he's known worldwide. And you just see him in the dance and it's just like, yeah, it's just Yellow Man. And it's just, and they all chatting on the mic. So I wasn't here in the UK, but was that kind of with the sounds that they had here or with your sound developing? Did you have like well, you said you tried to keep it female and there wasn't a lot of female DJs, but did you have any female DJ at the time that say follows your sound on the circuit? Was it like that here? I don't know what it was like here.
So are you talking about other selectors? that were
Yeah.
yeah. So I played with another selector during Melotone. I played with Night Nurse, but especially at Carnival, you're free to kind of like pick people to come on board. Um, so although it was a female space, there was
Mm.
because I was a youth worker and I've always worked with young people, it's about giving them an opportunity to be able to play at Carnival. And it's every DJ's wish to play at Carnival. Everybody
Mm.
wants to play at Carnival. So what we did was we gave the young guys the opportunity to so we had box boys because then we were hiring a very large set. So the guys would bring the set it, put out the boxes, and because it was like a shared space, so we would play as long as we got the last 2 hours because we'd play some of the foundation tunes. So we'd start it off as you do, and then in between we'd let quite a lot of boys, we'd have performers, we'd have singers, and they would take some of the day, we would take some of the day. So it was a shared space. So that really worked well. And there were always it's like the other day I saw a picture that I had. I didn't personally take a lot of pictures, but other people did. And I had a picture of one girl singing um grime,
Okay.
which, when you look back, that opportunity for her would have been a great thing, performing in front of her friends and that kind of thing. And also today, because we were setting up my set in another part of town, and my driver was the guy, one of the DJs, male DJs, that was with me since he was 18. He's now 38.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were just talking about, I explained to him that I was going to be on here tonight, but then we were talking about his journey. And now they have a sound system and he plays on someone else's sound system. So the opportunities, um, it's also, that's what, you're supposed to do as a person in the sound system world. You either promote artists or you let a selector on your set and they branch off and do what they want to do. And it's always been like that. Um, we also, over the years, it's got more. So as the set has grown, and I think COVID was the turning point in terms of, right, we are going to grow the sound to a point where it's got a female MC, it's got female DJs, and you also reflect the next generation because 2 days of playing at Carnival is pretty grueling, you know? So so after COVID, I saw a young woman. She's not even a young woman, she's a young girl on my feed on Instagram. So I was watching her for much of the lockdown. But what was interesting, I saw her getting better and better and better. And because I've got a love of dancehall, I thought, yeah, she would fit at Jamaica Corner. So anyway, I contacted her parents and she played on our site on the Sunday. She was 13 years old and she was the youngest female to ever play in the Notting Hill Carnival. And she was at
Wow.
Jamaica Corner. So
That's
it's 13
fantastic.
years old. So
Mm.
to give those opportunities to young people, yeah, in the early days, a lot of the young guys would play and they've gone on to do great things. It's
Mm.
only now that they're asking me for a play and I say to them, no, you can't play no more. because it's female focused. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it's about giving women opportunities. Sorry, can I just turn on the light? Because I have
Yeah,
to.
because I'm just saying, I'm done. I was just gonna say, I was waiting till you finished your point. I'm saying you're
Too
getting
light.
darker and darker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to finish your point first.
You were that interested, were you?
Yes. Ah, that's better.
Yeah, that's a lot
This is
better.
fading into the dark, but
I know it's
it's the
getting dark
point.
out there. It's getting dark
Yeah,
out there.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so it's really been about not only putting in 2016 I changed my DJ partner at the time for personal circumstances she stood down. So I was gonna revamp it again and then it became in 2017 it became Seduction City. And um I think it's gone from strength to strength. No, I'm not on the conventional circuit. There are some promoters that will hire me for whatever, but I've just done it my way. I've been able to invest in the set, and the set is just bigger than ever now. It's absolutely amazing, and I've done that. Um, I rolled that out 2 years ago on my 60th birthday. Not my 60th
Okay.
birthday, my 60th year. So I always wanted a big sound system. I wanted it to sound like have the richness of a Jamaican sound and some of the North London sounds which I followed. So I spent a lot of time listening and thinking, oh, that one's not bad. I wouldn't mind that sound. Um, then I'd hear something else, someone else, and I'd think, yeah, don't mind that one, but really still not enough bass. And the thing is, when you're
It's all about the bass.
so when you're using the thing is when you're using someone else's set, they control the controls, and I didn't want them to have any more control because I remember that in the early days, the guys used to say, "You love too much bass." I was just thinking, so what? So what? If you've heard Jamaican sounds, that's what you would hear. You'd hear
Mm-hmm.
the different,
V agrees with you.
and then, going to hear some of the biggest sounds in the 80s, like V Rocket, they were just amazing. I was just thinking, oh God, I want to be like that. I want to be like them. Do you know what I mean? Um, and Love
Yeah,
Injection,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So you want to be in them. So having that experience, having that hearing those sounds, I kind of like have an idea of how I wanted it to sound.
Mm.
So
Um, if you
yeah,
had the opportunity, what would you go back and change to get? I'm in my head. I'm saying to get to where you wanted to be quicker.
I was saying that I was thinking about that a couple of days ago, and I said I think I would have. You see, the thing is, when you're on the plantation and you're working and you've got to pay your mortgage, you can't just walk out of a job. You've got but I think in those days there might have been, it wasn't really apparent that there were so many places that you could play. There were so many people had so many blues dances, but I don't know. But I think it got to about 2000, I think it's 2012 that I literally pressed the button and took redundancy. And I haven't looked back since. And I think if I had pressed the button and given up my job and got another one, if I'd had the same kind of thinking about the sound, I would have done, not to say that I haven't done well, but I would have maybe done it a lot sooner, maybe around 2012, 2015, between 2012 and 2015,
Uh-huh.
you know? So yeah, maybe 10 years ago it would have been better. But as I said, when you got to pay your mortgage and you got a child to feed, it's not as easy. Whereas maybe a man would have
A
taken
man would
a
have
chance.
had his woman to support him.
I'm not saying that I never had the support, it's just the circumstances. We're a bit more, oh, I don't know. We maybe consider things.
Homemakers, that takes priority over
I don't know. I was doing different things. I've always done something. I was running around 2011, I was running a foundation for young people and with immigration, those who didn't have status. So yeah, the sound, it's peaks and troughs. You just 1 minute I'm doing this. The sound was always there, but I didn't have the financially, I couldn't have done that at the time. But it just got to the point after COVID, I just thought, I'm going to do this. I don't really care. I'm going to do it now. I'm ready to build it.
Mm,
I was fed up of having large sets at the carnival and not being able to control or determine how that went. You know what I mean? I just got fed up with it. People turning me down or not having the power that I wanted in carnival. Because if you like reggae music, you really want to hear
hmm
the music being played proper. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
So one of the sound guys um has mentored me to actually create the sound system that I have today.
Yeah, yeah. So, I was seeing comments coming up in the chat there, Sugar, with some questions. Do you want
Oh,
to fire some of
okay.
them questions that
Okay.
that I saw coming through? Because yeah, they kept popping up on my screen. There's a few questions there. I think
Okay.
mhm. I know one of the questions that I did see was someone was asking, where can they find you to shake a leg?
Well, it was interesting because I played at the Tabernacle, which I call the home of Carnival. That's in Powers Square in Ladbroke Grove. So I rang up because there are certain promoters that I'll just go and say, oh, give me a date. Because I actually don't get booked like that.
Mm,
So I rang him up. I said, this is who manages the Tabernacle. I said, Matthew, can you book me for your thing? Because it just interested me. It was records, and records is what I bought forever. I still buy records. So he says, oh, it's booked for the next year. And I said, well, who have you got for International Women's Month? Because I hope it's a woman. So he said, oh, no, it's a guy. And I said, you can't have International Women's Month with a guy. So you've got to book me. So he said she's not gonna budge. So I said, it's up to you, because you're in the press, not me. So he said, oh, so he must have thought about it for a split second. Because this is the man who runs the carnival. So I said to
mm,
him, why? It's not gonna look good. So anyway, I'll leave it with you. It's up to you. So he said, could you wait till next year? I said, no, sir. You've got to book me for International Women's Month. So anyway, he left it with me and he came back and said, oh, Mal. He said, Mal, oh, it's sorted. Someone's stepped aside, so come and play. So anyway, I had the flyer out there and then he said, the only thing is it's one turntable. And I said, I haven't done that for donkeys. So he said, yeah, but you'll have to because that's all we got. Bought me records and it was it was like a movie. Do you know what I mean? Well received. It was just a joy to be able to play. So there are, and I'll play for another guy who does a promotion at All Nations as well. I play for Egan, me and my DJ partner. So they're the two regulars that I will play on their promotion. I'll phone them up and ask them. But if it's for me to ask any other promoter, hell no. Hell no. So I've been booked. I've played at Glastonbury. I played at Glastonbury twice. I've played at Reggae Land. But in terms of when is my next date, I'm going to be playing, and this is an absolute, again, it's to ask the promoter. I didn't actually ask the promoter. I was helping him to arrange the event, and he said, "Do you want to come and play?" So I'll be playing with on Friday the 24th of April. I'll be playing with Java, Saxon, Love
That's
Injection,
excellent.
and Silverhawk, and Silverhawk, and it's just so. I would have thought so he went away, and after I was just talking to him about the actual event and just giving him a couple of words of advice around licensing because I did a lot of licensing in the Notting Hill Carnival. So he came back a couple of days later and he said, "Would you like to go on the set?" No, my friend, one of my family friends convinced him she can play, So, they always doubt whether a woman can play.
Mm.
So I was playing at the Ritzy a couple of weeks before, and he said, "Oh," I phoned him up. I said, "If you want to hear me play, you need to come down there." So he came, and and then I went over to him and I said, "Oh, so what do you think then?" So he said, "You can play." Well, I know I can play. Do you know what I mean? So, so then, he felt a bit more comfortable to put me on, that I'm not going to balls it up on the bill.
Yeah.
And then the next one that I did, I said, "Oh, come to the Tabernacle because he's having to give out the flyers for the big dance, as I've been calling it." So that, as I said, I was playing with two other guys, and I went just like the men to kill them, wipe the floor with them with rival. So that was a success. So he came over to me and he said, "You really can play." And I said, "Yeah, so you don't have to worry." Do you know what I mean?
That's really good. What I'm looking at now is right. So you're still working with vinyl. What do you think about CDs and streaming before we close down? Before we close up?
I still, I play on a laptop at the moment because your records go missing and they're too heavy. And I don't necessarily have somebody with me all the time to be playing music, to be taking them with me and whatever.
But people
So
are having vinyl sessions. Do you take
mm,
part in those?
yeah, well, I've done two this time, and then as I said, people invite you to go on them, but I would dare to ask. I'm just like any other black person. I ain't asking you nothing. So if I'm not invited, I'm not begging anyone anything.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm just like that. I don't because you might go and ask. I did it 3 times last year. Asked 3 promoters if they would put me on it, and it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. As I said to you, I played in Glastonbury twice. I've played in Reggae Land. I've done the Bournemouth Festival. I've played
Mm,
overseas.
yeah, you've earned your stars.
So I'm not gonna ask anybody for them to say, "Oh, do you know how to play vinyl?" I was buying vinyl since I was 12 years old. And he
Yeah.
asked me, "Can I,
Mm.
can
Someone was
I?"
asking, have you played in Luton? Do you play in Luton?
I
Someone.
played in Luton once, and that dance was a flop. It was a flop. So that was quite a few years ago. I've played in Hitchin. I've played in because I get invited to Hitchin a bit. Um playing in South London. I'm playing as I said, that's my next day. Sunday, I'll be in Enfield playing. This weekend is mad. I'm playing tomorrow in Brixton in a gallery. That's just some kind of like exhibition. So I'll be playing some music there. The sound system will be there as well. We set up this afternoon. Saturday I'm doing a 50th and Sunday I'm doing a 60th. So it's not to say that I'm not doing anything. I'm always doing. If it's not an interview, it's playing at a festival or you know.
So do
Um,
you think, because I know like when you were saying something and we was trying to put a finger where do you believe like it was the confidence levels back then that sometimes maybe have deterred you from being in certain spaces? Because even like the fact where you said you told the man about International Women's Month, do you think you would have been that confident and ballsy and forward prior to for earlier years? Was you always that confident?
I don't know if it's confident, just being outspoken. I've got a good relationship with them. They know that I mean good. I always feel like I'm an ambassador for Carnival. So I'm not gonna I always put myself forward. If they ask me to do something, and it seems like the right thing, I'll do it.
Mm,
Maybe it was about confidence, but I think it was also about finance. You have a dream. One sound system equipment is not cheap.
mm,
It's not cheap. So I think it came at the right time.
okay.
It's opened a lot of doors for me,
Okay.
you know.
I just want to say there's Lee's D. She says she'd have the opportunity to play at your sound would be a dream come true.
Getting some feedback from you, Sugar. It's a bit of an echo.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you're the queen of feedback. I
Still hearing.
To be able to play. Well, I'm on social
that's
media.
someone trying to play with you. I'm sorry about the feedback. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Are you still getting feedback?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not harsh. Go on. Say what you was just gonna say.
Just Jennifer was saying that you got a fantastic resume. She said great resume. Um, oh, Samantha, you're in Bournemouth. Denise, have you heard of Summer Down, South Bank, and three favorite tunes?
Have I heard of Summer Down? Played on the South Bank 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
played out there as well.
yeah. What is this? We're in Enfield.
No,
Oh,
the
she
group
wants a
was asking
website
about
for your gig.
yeah.
So Jennifer wants a website for
Um,
your gigs. Do you have a list?
I'm not sure if it's completely up to date because I'll just get, like you'll update as best as you can, and then you'll just get a random so the 50th birthday is not on the website, but my
No.
Instagram, I try to keep up to date as possible.
And what is your
Yeah, so
Instagram name?
yeah, my Instagram is Seduction City Sound.
Okay.
Okay, and Samantha is saying it's been really interesting and great to hear your story, Lady Banton. Yeah, because you've got a fantastic story,
Yeah.
and most people here have enjoyed hearing it.
Thank
So
you.
so
Can
we've
I
given.
ask?
Go on.
Hi, Lady Banton.
Hi.
Yeah, what's three of your favorite tunes at the moment? I said three because sometimes it's hard to pick the one when people ask what's one of your favorite tune.
One of them, I can't really say because I change with the wind. So one day it really does depend on my mood.
Hmm.
One of my favorite soul tracks is
Hmm.
If You Should Lose Me by Aretha Franklin.
Hmm.
That's And then one of my favorite tracks, I'm always singing it,
Mm-hmm.
is Stars by Cornell Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of just a couple of trips to Raytown in Jamaica because
Ah,
that's a
chat.
Raytown tune. It's a
Yes.
Raytown tune.
Mm.
And the third one today, I'm not saying it would be tomorrow, is Take My Hand by Tristan Palmer.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Mm.
so they're very I'm not a lovers rock person, although I've got a nice lovers rock collection. But
Mm.
I like dancehall lovers. So Take My Hand
Okay.
and Stars are in the true tradition of dancehall lovers.
Yeah.
And that one is by not the John Holt one, the Tristan Palmer one. So you can
Okay.
YouTube those tunes and you'll understand why I like those tunes.
Okay. Yeah, I made a note. I will listen. I'll listen to them.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah,
We and Beverly and I grew up. Our parents was very into music and holding blues dance, innit, Bev?
Yes, 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 yes.
yeah.
So,
A
so
lot of them were like that though, weren't they?
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Having them, we had a grand aunt who used to have a house that's got the basement, and
Yeah,
they dance on here. My dad used to talk about, I don't know if it's Chile now, whatever money they use, to get into the dance back in them days. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what I'm gonna ask, because we've titled each week our guests, we give their journey a title. And your title, we've called it The Journey of the Windrush Legacies. So how is that for those who can't probably see the connection with your musical journey and Windrush Legacies? Because when they hear Windrush, they just think about the ship and people coming over. Form that connection for us. Why
Okay.
why we why we why it's named that? Why your journey's named that?
So I think a lot of my ideas are quite you have a desire to do something. I'm a child of my parents came here in 58 and we were brought up as Jamaican children. So that Windrush, I've done a Windrush type show since the lockdown. So I was playing all of the old hits and the US soul stuff. So a lot of our early tunes came from, early producers and record handlers brought music from the Americas and sold them here. So I had a show like that. And then I'm very much about preserving and talking about our presence here from the 1950s. Really interesting history. For some, for me, there were more joys than anything else. Um, so I did this show for many years. And then one morning I rang my friend, and she's always the one to hear the ideas, the first ideas that I have. And I said, I'd like to do this event. Janet, I'd like to do this event. And it would be like an event where we'd have all different ages, intergenerational, in my local area with stalls because like people go to those black markets. Well, I like I've played outside more than I've played inside. So I was thinking it would be an opportunity to bring Caribbean people together, but also people from anywhere that wanted to experience our culture. And a lot of us run very small businesses and it would be an opportunity for people to buy our goods because we have all the alternative stuff. We always sell in that. We sell African print, we sell sour sop, all of them. Anyway, I was able to get funding to launch this weekender. So as I said, it's in Broxbourne. It's been going for 3 years as the Windrush Legacies Weekender. So I did it on Friday. So we delivered it on Saturday in Waltham Cross and on Sunday in Hoddesdon. So we've been doing that for 3 years. We're into our fourth year. It's been quite grueling, but it's a wonderful occasion for everybody to come through. So we get about 1,000 people to come along. Right throughout the day, we play reggae music. We have artists. We have artists from the younger artists as well, because they get a look in. And we just have all of this, so we've had people like Panchita Latouche, a lot of the older artists, Blood Sisters, who that was one of the few lovers rock singers that I really liked. So we've had all of these artists come back and they've been great to give up their time. Also, some really young, talented young people from our area as well.
Mm.
And a great opportunity for people to showcase the things that they're doing in terms of businesses and naturally as well, the food as well. After, in our area, there isn't it's not like London where you can get anything. You can get roti, you can get our food. We know exactly where to get it. Where I live, you're lucky if you see a decent piece of yam.
Where we live.
Yeah, well, sorry, where we live, you're lucky if you see a decent piece of yellow yam. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was an opportunity to actually show people within our community what the richness of our
Our
culture.
culture, yeah. So
Yeah.
when is that? For those that are here now and want to come up to our manor to come and join us for the Windrush Weekender.
So we're still in the middle of organizing it. Saturday, the 20th of June. So it's Windrush weekend. Saturday, the 20th of June. It's come down to one day because the organization of organizing that from two sites and Carnival was getting far too much for me. So it's going to be on, as I said, Saturday the 20th of
June.
of June from 12 to 7, and it's at Waltham Cross Plainfields.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, when we send them your website, we'll add that information onto it as well.
Thank you.
Oh, somebody's asking about parking. Actually, in your area, parking's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Waltham Cross because it borders Enfield. The parking is there is parking, but there is parking in the shopping area, some of the streets, some of the side streets. There's about three car parks in that area. So there is a payment, but not as mad as London. Yeah, not as bad as London, but there is
Okay,
parking.
thanks for that.
And also an opportunity to listen to my sound system as
That's
always.
right.
As always.
So
That's definitely a reason to come down, isn't it?
I don't play at that event though, but there'll be a member of my sound system to play. But it's an opportunity for others to play and some of the artists to come along.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right. So as we're coming down to the boil down time now, let me ask this question. If you were to offer a word of wisdom to the young Lady Banton upcoming, what would those words of wisdom be?
I think don't let anything hold you back. I always say at the end of a performance, especially in those big festivals, is there anything that you want in life? You've got to you just do it. I don't if someone says no to me, I just think anyway, I'll do as I please. Do you know what I mean? Because no one's gonna stop me or determine um how my life is, how the outcomes in my life I want to be. This is the last thing that I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Before I can't move the sound system. To have one? And like people saying, what do you want to do that for? Well, what's it got to do with you, mate? Ain't got nothing to do with you, it's me. So that made me even more determined and just have a determination and just do what you want to do, especially it doesn't only apply to women, it applies to men as well. You've got to do what you want to do in your life because we're only here but for a short time.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right. Not for a long time, but we're here.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Thank you very much for that.
So, is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Miss Sugar? Or you
Oh
think
no, I asked my
I thoroughly enjoyed this chat. Go on.
today.
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry?
I,
Did someone
yeah, I don't know when I turn on my mic, it all goes funny. But yeah, I was just saying yes. I asked my questions earlier on today. So
Mhm.
you're on you're using your laptop rather than CDs and streaming, and it's all good. Just love what
Yeah,
you
yeah, I do.
in the
I still use all formats. I use
Actually, that might not be the question that Bev didn't ask. Where's she going? And then we can finish up.
Oh, sorry, I left out that question. We're just so enthralled by everything. The future plans. Any future plans beyond your now that you okay? So you've reached the pinnacle where you wanted to be as terms of being a sound system owner. Is there anything else that you want to do going
well,
forward?
there is more to come. Um, there is more to come. You'll have to kind of like wait and see. I'm very much about because I've seen some really, really important women, and they never always got the because one of the people that I wanted to interview was Ranking Miss P. And she's been ill for some time. Their stories are never told. You know, no one ever took the time to chronicle what, what her journey was as a early lady DJ and what she did on DBC radio, you know? So for me, it's about legacy. It's about chronicling our history in the right and proper way. In the right and proper. Hello.
On that note, has
Sorry.
anybody been to see the stars for the DJs in Stoke Newington?
Oh yes, I went and saw that. I went and saw that. But it's not enough. We need to take their stories while they're alive. And that's the thing for
Definitely,
me
I
that is
agree.
lacking. That's really lacking that we haven't taken the time to do, to have platforms like this where people are able. So this will stay on Facebook forever. So
Yeah.
there are things that I'm gonna do. They're just in the making at the moment. It's quite a large piece of work that I'm hoping to do. But this time I'm getting people on board because usually I do it and I get really overwhelmed. But
Mm.
this time I'm gonna there are people that are coming on board to do this quite large piece of work over the next couple of years.
And it's funny, when my brother was in uni, because my brother studied music, and he's for his dissertation, it just triggered that memory. He did a documentary, if you like,
Hmm.
of the reggae music. I can't remember. Yeah, reggae music, right? The history of reggae music, and I don't know why he hasn't really done nothing with it yet. But he went to Jamaica and he interviewed some of the old time DJs. He in at time my godfather Count Shelley was still alive them time there, so he interviewed Shelley. He interviewed there's quite a few of them legacy DJs that he's made this document. I must find out from him what's going on with that, because because when I was watching it, I'm thinking, wow, you're hearing like their journey, and it was really interesting to hear
They are.
where they're
They
coming
are.
from.
They are
Yeah.
really interesting, and I like to hear about our journeys. Do you know what
Mm,
I mean? So the what I would say is the bits that I haven't been able to cover, because there's more. So I've gone on to write about the dancehall, females in the dancehall
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
And you can read that essay. It's on my website. You can read the essays. Really interesting stuff. Because as I said, the dancehall space is an amazing place
mm,
for us as Black women. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
what happens to us in that space.
yeah,
So if it's something for the future, I'm gonna continue to write about reggae and reggae dancehall in
yeah.
that space. So I'll be doing a presentation in July. So all of these things will be on my website. They're not
Brilliant,
there yet. There's no flyer because I always ask for a flyer. But I'll be at the South Bank in July 24th to talk about I'll be doing a workshop there about a sound system workshop and also women in dancehall.
brilliant.
So there's quite a bit that I am going to be doing. So all of the promoters who don't want to book me, that's fine with me.
You got bigger fish to fry.
Trust me.
And we're here as a platform. If any of those female want to come and share their journeys with us here, that's
Yeah.
what we're all about: inspiration to innovation. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can contact us on our by Gmail, sister.network@gmail.com. If you want to email us to get further information about being a guest, we'll hopefully get some of these female pioneers as guests at some stage. Sugar's looking like she got something to say.
No, I was just reposting the thing.
You're on mute if you're saying something. Zoom trying to silence her.
I'm just reposting the links.
Okay.
I know. Lean in. You know, my eye them not good.
I saw you leaning in. It's like you're like leaning in, like you want to say something. Okay, it's all good. So yeah, so it's I don't even know what to say. That was absolutely fantastic for me. I thoroughly, not saying I haven't thoroughly enjoyed everybody else that we've had, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this discussion this evening because it's brought a lot of sparks of my musical youth days and stuff like that. So Lady Banton, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your inspiration to innovation journey.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been really nice to share the information, share my journey with quite a few people. Some I recognize. I won't even name them, but I didn't even think they were interested. You know what I mean? So.
That's how it is, isn't it? People are silent supporters. And thank you everyone that's come here this evening, because we know what it's, life is life in for everyone. And the fact that you took that time out to
really
come and join us this evening.
Really humbled by the amount of people. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, really? You know what I mean? Yeah. So thank you for.
Yeah, thank you so much. Love it. Absolutely love it. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, Lady Banton. I want to say a special thank you. It's very interesting and it just gives us hope. I know I need to turn off because of my feedback.
Yeah. So anyway, we want to we can't name everybody every week, but thank you everybody, all the individual participants that are here tonight. And are we going to call that a wrap, Sugar? Because she loves this. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
We're going to call it a wrap and remind everybody that it will be on YouTube, and I'll do my best to send the links out to you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.